Hey, what is up everyone? It's Rich. Alright, welcome to a video. I'm fired up. I just shot that McFarlane video and we're going into Clayton Crain. Clayton Crain. Can't even say it. It was funny, I was trying to write it the other day when I was searching for it, and I was getting tongue-tied and juxtaposing his first name and last name, but it's Clayton Crain. He's great. He works a lot digitally, if not all digitally, and he was kind of one of the, I thought, the sort of early luminaries of this style. So what I've got here is Ghost Rider, and then we're also going to look at some of his Carnage work. And his Carnage work was done after this, I believe, and it is really, really good. So settle in, let's go full screen mode and do this. So yeah, I did one very small comic book convention about 30 minutes from my house, and he was one of the guests of honors for that show. I didn't really get to meet him, but he was there. That's the closest I've ever come to him, as far as I know. I saw him. So this is cool. He may even use some 3D models. I'm not 100% sure how he does this. Like, this to me looks a little so accurate that it might be something like that. This looks a little more varied, but this in right here, when you're working digitally, I mean, you can do things like photo bash and whatnot, and depending on how much you blend it in, you know, it can give you some foundational pieces, but it can also look weird. And again, I'm not saying that he does, but you know, because this all looks drawn to me. His stuff at times has like almost like a 2000 AD sort of vibe to me. Not the finish on it, but like it reminds me of like the Bisleys and the Jim Murray's. You know, like Jim Murray, the Batman Demon book had faces that kind of look like this. A little Corbin. I'm not saying that there are influences on him, but you'll see what I mean. This almost feels like it could be Silent Hill or Resident Evil. But anyway, wait till you see the Carnage stuff. The Carnage stuff is amazing. Again, this, I think he was kind of working out the style. And before this, he actually, if I'm not mistaken, he used to work in like pen and ink, and his stuff, I think, had a bit of a McFarlane sort of vibe. But man, I just love the way that he painted fire in this series. I'm a huge Ghost Rider fan, so I've always loved the character. I just think it's so different. This is really cool. But yeah, I was always blown away. I would see these covers and just be like, oh man, like the Ghost Rider bike and the flames were just so sick. This is very, very cool. And you know, we've talked about, like, do digital comics work? You know, how much is too much? Painterly sort of effect digitally. You know, does concept art work as a comic book storytelling approach? Because it can sometimes, I think, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but pen and ink, and even digital pen and ink, although I think that even that can teeter, and then just digital colors, it seems to be the most varied finished look. I don't know why that is, but when people do more digital stuff, it can kind of feel one note. I'm not saying that this does. I'm just saying in general, I think that that's one of the hurdles that you face in doing a digital book or a digitally painted book is it can feel homogenized a little bit. I don't know if maybe there's not as much pure black because you're painting with a full spectrum of color. Because even these blacks, if you actually watch, I mean, I can show you right now, just as an example. This is a scan. Let's go into not full screen mode for a second. If I take the eyedropper, is it? Yeah. And then let's see what the color is. Okay, it's a dark, dark blue. And now that is black. You can take the color picker and kind of see where the stuff is falling. I don't know how many pixels mine some. It was a point sample, okay. Yeah, they're staying pretty close to black. But a lot of times when you paint, things aren't as black as you think. You see this is starting to move up into this, and this looks black, but it's even in the higher range. And that's not black. And so I think the contrast that black and white art has sometimes, I think, helps it along a little bit. But, you know, again, not directly related to his work. It's just an observation with painted work, because this is clearly black. So, moving a little fast because I have so much of the Carnage stuff open, and it's so damn good. So we definitely want to get there as quick as possible. But I thought it would be fun to look at these Ghost Rider pages. They look pretty interesting, the small things. So again, this was reminding me of like the 2000 AD art a little bit. This is nice. This does have a Resident Evil feel. It's funny. Resident Evil 2, I'm thinking. Man, those games were so fun. This is nice. It's a little hard to read. It's like if there was a little tiny bit more clarity on this, this could be super duper badass. But I'm wishing that I could... you know what it is I can't key in on one main thing. If there was one figure that really dominated this piece, it would really, like, jump out at you a lot more. But it's a little fractal. This is cool. Okay, so let's see here. This is another issue. This is the first issue. See, this is a little clearer. You can tell he's still kind of like the structure on these heads is a little unique. I mean, they are kind of like trippy statues, but this is nice. Man, that's a really cool panel. Look at that. Dine and Dash. This feels like, I mean, it could be the way that when he painted it, that his lines are so straight. That's really cool. That's a nice little shot. This is cool too. Yeah, this is really, really good. It's tough stuff to paint. I mean, you have to give him credit for not only drawing this stuff, but painting a book, man. That's you're opening up a lot of problem solving going on. Like a shot like this is great. If you've ever been in a truck stop at night, kind of does have this vibe. Love this stuff. Man, he does it so good. The Carnage stuff is going to blow your mind. Hang tight. Let's get there. This is good. These are like very small scans. I have this comic for sure. I totally remember this guy. See, this look to me looks like an early 3D model. Like it could have been done in like Blender or something. Not saying that it was, but it's like... He's so crazy looking. Well, boys will be bad boys, I guess. 2007. Look at that. He's crazy. That's a nice upper panel too. Did he do the photostat? It looks a little photostatty. Hard to tell though. This is so pixely. That's nice. Damn. I can't believe he paints that. That's nuts. This guy's forehead is getting crazy. I don't know what he's working on right now. All right, so let's... Oh, man, it's a beautiful shot. Wow. That's great, and that is all painted. That is so cool. Okay. This should be... That's nice. Oh, my God. All right, you ready for Carnage? Let's do it. Oh, man. Let's look at that, though, first. That is cool. God, that is great. Can you... I mean, if this was like an oil or acrylic painting, he would be able to sell this for so much. Man, that would have been dope. This is a 2-page spread, I'm guessing. Yeah, that would have been nice. Oh, look at that. Boom. That is so killer. Clayton Crain, man. Man, that is great. Oh, yeah. These covers were ridiculously good. He really, really just nailed it with this fire, man. It looks like almost like a variant cover. It might not be, but it's almost got an Esad Ribic feel a little bit. I don't think this is Clayton. He would have gone crazy with the fire. That's a little more tame. This is nice, too. Dang, he made the bike hot. Alright, here we go. So this is the Carnage stuff. These scans are bigger, too. You can see his confidence in painting really evolves on this. And actually, some of this almost looks like he did go in and kind of not, like, digitally ink it, though. But do you see? And this gives it a little bit more of a solidity. If everything would have this sort of painterly look, I think it would be too soft. But doing stuff like this really grounds it. And I think he realized that too as he was going along, that he needed more of this vibe. That's the balance. And that's why I thought this would be so important to look at. You see this? Man, that is great. Look at that. I mean, this is just 5-star all the way. This is so killer. That is awesome. This is what happens. You stick with the style, work with it long enough, you perfect it, and then you get a look like this, you know. And you can do this with any mediums, you know. He always stayed true to his vision. I respect that so much. Look at this. And again, some of this looks like it might have been a 3D model to me. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that this is very, very solid and very consistent. So he might have built some of this as a structure. Like it could have been in ZBrush or even like 3D Studio Max or something like that. And then he's using it. I'm not saying that that's factual, because this looks drawn. It has a little bit of a different vibe to it too. Man, this is great. Dude, this stuff is so good. Look at that. Damn. I almost wish that we just went right to this. The Ghost Rider stuff is cool, but man, did he evolve. You know, but that makes it interesting, too. Look at that. That is so kick-ass. You can tell he's getting into the concept art way, way more. That is awesome. Oh, man, look at that. Woo! That is hot. Oh, my God. That is so great. 5. I give it a 10. 11. His digital art goes to 11. Man. God dang. He draws great. He does the digital great and just integrates it. Oh, so good. Man, that is nuts. Is he online? I don't even know if he's online. If not, he should be. Anyone ever get a sketch from him, like at a show? I think he was doing commissions at the show that I was at. This looks great. Man, that's so cool. That is a great pose, too. This is all really cool. Man, so suggestive. He's got the blend. He did it. He's got one of the best that I've seen. I knew that I was making a good call picking this. That is so great. This is great poses, man. His storytelling is really cool too. It's got some really neat like motion going through all this. Look at that. Excuse me. It's starting to rain here again. It's like it can't decide what it wants to do. It's pretty miserable out today. It's good. It looks just about like this scene. Just less superheroes outside. Man. Wow, look at that. Good God. It's interesting, too, because, man, there's so much going on right here. It's like, did he draw the arm? You can see it. I see the anatomy, but, man, it's so layered in. That is crazy. Wow. Look at his face. That is so awesome. It reminds me a little bit of, oh, gosh. Who was the Spawn artist that we did? Everyone really liked it. They wanted more. Can't think of his name off the top of my head. I'll remember it before the end of the video. I was in a very different place, so it's like I wasn't thinking about the olden days. Yeah, he's got real solid superhero figures. His actual costumed heroes. He's really good with the metal. Great textures on her costume that are different. This is what I talk about, the materials. It's more of a digital term, but painters deal with it too. But comic book artists, not so much. But you still want to have this mindset of like when you render spandex versus the like shiny parts of the material or metal and stuff like that. I mean, the way that you throw down your lines can really affect that. Oh, it was Angel Medina was who I was thinking of. But yeah, some of the stuff reminds me of that ferocity that Angel Medina stuff has. This is so kick-ass, man. I look at his inner body. This dude is nuts. Man, that is great looking. These pages are so good. Oh my gosh. God dang. He is crazy. And this is great. Look at the bend on these poses. This is awesome too. And I like that there's background, but it doesn't overwhelm me. You know, like this is a nice looking building. It's got these cool reflections of other buildings in it. It's plenty, you know. He's spending his budget on awesome looking characters and not spinning his wheels on like busy work, you know. Hey, settle down, guys. The sizes on this are all a little similar. I almost would have liked this character a little bit bigger. It's for a beat like this, it's a pretty big moment. This panel could have been maybe even been smaller and then increase the size of Carnage a bit. Because this is just all like sort of, I talk about this. Let me go out of full screen mode for a second. This isn't a huge criticism on him, but I can at least point it out. I'll create another layer really fast. Talk about this in some of the drawing videos, but if you, let me get this red so you can see it good. Even though there's things on this figure that are bigger, the main point of focus is about like this. And then if I go like this, see, or the, I'm sorry. And you start to look at these characters, they're all kind of taking up the same size. And that it becomes too similar. You know, the point of interest is still about approximately the same size. And I actually took a pretty long angle, but if you went like from this guy's elbow to this head, it's about the same size as that guy. And so there's a sameness to it that loses a little bit of the impact. But if I take this panel, and you know, again, no disrespect to Clayton, he did the hard work, he came up with all this, so I don't know if it'll let me. What? I guess it will. If this panel was a tiny bit smaller, maybe, and then Carnage was a little bigger. Whoa. Sorry. Not that big. You know, then you separate those characters a little bit more. Would have been maybe a tiny bit more exciting of a shot, and it just feels more varied. Sorry. So obviously you'd fill in that space, make these characters maybe a tiny bit smaller, but yeah, you just want to watch that same size thing, because even this head is pretty similar to the sizes of other stuff on the page, so it just gives it a little bit too much. But he tends to mix up his sizes a lot on the other pages, so it's, you know, he's clearly aware of it. There was a reason that he did that, but this is nice. It's pretty dramatic lighting. Everyone coming out of the black. I opened up quite a few of these pages so we can kind of move through those. Man, that's really cool looking. Look at that shine he got on that. Dude, that is so great. Man, that is nice. Again, talking about materials and textures, dude, that is really, really killer. Wow, that is beautiful. Look at that. Man, that looks so nice. It looks like glass, you know? That is killer. Oh, man. Look at this. This is so good. Yeah, that looks great. And keeps this real suggestive. Man, it's just like... It's funny because a few artists that I'm into that do this would be goodbrush.com. His name has escaped me. I'll think of it in a second. And then Dermot Power is another one who's got like a real good painterly look. It's not Ian McCaig. It's, what is his name? Goodbrush.com. I'm like, where's my phone? I can look it up really fast. I'll remember. Everyone's that knows it screaming it right now. The computer. Come on, Rich, you can do it. What's his name? He was my favorite concept artist, honestly, like early on. He was the first one that I got super into, and then he opened the door to everyone else. Man, that's so cool. His characters, I love the cartooniness of these small figures, but they're still solid, like you know, like a superhero artist would do it in like a more literal sense. But he stretches and kind of bends the limbs, makes it look really, really cool. This is all great too. Very, very, like, man. It's raining again. Today is ugly outside. This is cool. Man, it's nice. This blur on this character is actually nice. Uh-oh. Gardner really is working in the rain? Seriously? I don't know if you can hear it. Like, weed blower in the rain. This guy's nuts. I'm gonna shut this. And it's driving me nuts, so I can't think of who Goodbrush is. Craig Mullins. There we go. Whew. Like I said, I have too much random shit in my head. It makes it like it's like I can only remember 50 million artists, and sometimes I need to remember 51 million. It just shows, though, that like there's a never-ending pool of like awesomeness out there. But yeah, look up Craig Mullins, goodbrush.com. He pulled down a lot of his stuff. His early site had the most huge scans, and then he kind of like, I don't even know, it was a long time ago now, but he kind of pulled them down and put up smaller versions. But I would say somewhere I have a folder full of all the big scans. I think I pulled it off and burned it onto a CD, but His stuff was great, and he does that real loose painting, but he can paint glass and shines and metal, and he's a master of digitally painting materials and making them look like lots of different things, you know, where it's like, oh, it's funny, you can actually see the crop thing, stuff like this, but he'll do it like on a car, like that glassy effect that was on the symbiote. This guy is really, really freaking good, man. His gestures on these figures are so badass. Clayton, you rock, dude. Man, this is great. Let me know what he's been working on lately. I want to 100,000,000% check out whatever he's got going on. Because, you know what? This was maybe not that long ago, though. This might have been his last project. I could be wrong on that, but I would buy these comic books all day. Dude, that guy is jacked up. Oh, man, look at that. Woohoo! Oh, it's so cool. Damn, dude. Look at the pose. That's great with that arm wrapping around. And this. Wow. Oh, my gosh. This is like stuff that I can't almost wrap my brain around. Like, I kind of understand what he's doing, but some of them, the pieces are so dense. It's like, how does he even start this stuff? There's like, he has so many layers just on like the Carnage head. Look at this face. It's like, you've got that textury thing. He's got the reflection. This beautiful, beautiful, like, sort of glaze he puts over the outside of the ball. This kind of blur, soft effect. I mean, he's just like this. It's like you can see through the cranium. Man, I can't even imagine what these look like on his computer too, because these are nice, very, very nice reproductions of this stuff. But like, can you imagine seeing this stuff at like 600 DPI? And really being able to zoom in. And again, these are not bad files by any means, but this stuff is just beautiful. Man, it looks like the skin is made of like glass. Like if you poked it, all the juice would come out. Oh, I love this kind of stuff. Yep. I'm really happy that we're looking at this. It's funny because it's so different than the Ghost Rider stuff, but you could see where this came from. And stuff like this, honestly, it could be a little more refined, but it doesn't bother me, you know? I mean, it's like he does it enough where it feels like some of the faster beats that he wants you to move through a little quicker, he doesn't go as like tight on it. And I also think that does give some breathing room, because if everything was super refined, it would be a little bit problematic. Like, do you see this? This almost looks like an underdrawing for a thing. But if he didn't have that, everything was so polished, I think it would be too one note. So he's created a pretty interesting balance of, you know, something that you could refer to as the Silvestri, this kind of thing, you know? But he's also got that other arsenal of slick, and this is really, really wild. Wow. Always learning, man. These videos are so educational to me. It is funny, too, because every video I see, I always go like, this is the answer. This is it. I get it now. And then the next video, it's the same thing. I walk away from the video and I go, that was the one. That was the game changer. Oh, man, it's so funny. Yeah, these are all cloned, or a lot of them are cloned, but it's fine. Why spend a bunch of time drawing that stuff? Sometimes I celebrate it. Sometimes I condemn it. But I think he's doing it in an intelligent way. I like that. This little panel right here is great. Man, this guy is freaking good. He's done his homework, man. telling you. Nice anatomy and paint really. Whoa, what is going on? The hottie turns into a naughty, and look at this dude. Wow. This reminds me of Travis did the inside of the Halo building in Wildcats 50. It's like Grifter sitting up against like a like the space shuttle and stuff. Ladytron's in there, but that's a pretty detailed war room, whatever you want to call it. Man, this guy is great. What a fun comic, dude. I'm gonna sneeze. I was told that Jim McMahon, I heard this last night from my friend James, that he thinks that sneezing, the owner of the wrestling stuff, that sneezing is a sign of weakness. I'm sorry, Mr. McMahon. Wow, that's cool. Again, materials, look at that. This looks like chrome, and then this just looks like gooey wet, and then this is really, really cool. The smoke and stuff. Man, it's so nice. He could do a really nice bicycle, like with alloy and stuff. I almost wish that sometimes he made Venom look a little more wet. This is still super badass, but he could look a little more juicy. Like the drippy feels very almost like melted sugar, you know, sugar glass, I think they call it. If it looked a little more wet, it would be even more disturbing. God dang, this guy is insane. God, so cool. This is nice. It's fun to see him draw different types of characters. It's gonna be a long video. It's worth it though, because this stuff is great. And we'll get the title and everything at the very end. I'll do it for you. Oh man, look at that. He's having fun, man. Wow, that is crazy. Oh my gosh. It's just incredible how much different stuff you can do in comics. Again, he keeps these guys, he gives them kind of rubbery anatomy. I like it. That nice curve to the arms. This is a nice panel. That's really cool. I like how suggestive it is. Yeah, this is really cool. Man, that's solid. The hands, they're proportionately really, really consistent. You know, a lot of times when people will do two hands in a shot like this, one hand will be kind of like out of whack with the other, but he keeps it good. This is all really cool. I'd love to see him do some Resident Evil stuff. Man, just a short story, he'd crush it. He could retell that the first game, or is the first game, second game, I think, where they run into the gun shop. It's like you start kind of by the ambulances and the roadblocks, and then you run into the gun shop, and then I think the game starts. I think that's Resident Evil 2. Oh, that's cool. I haven't seen this effect on Spidey's eyes. Man, look at the texture on his head, too. Sorry, I thought I felt an earthquake. Wow. I remember this piece. This is so crazy. He kept it nice and loose. Man, look at that. Oh, God, stuff is great. His silhouettes are nice, too, for the hands and stuff like that. These are pretty good shapes that sell the sizzle. And, again, there's no detail. I've been recommending for people, if you're learning to draw hands, get this kind of stuff down first. and then worry about plugging in a little bit more of the quote-unquote realism, because when you really look at a hand in real life, you don't see every finger, and the kind of the biggest mistake I think that you can make is trying to, especially with fists and things where it's closed off, is to overdraw. But it's easier said than done to simplify it. So start with your silhouette and make sure you get the wrist and the that stuff. But with hands like this, it's a little different. Look at this. This is great. The creases in the costume. Nice touch. It actually feels like that this is, you know what I mean, like on his body, and that gives it a like just a little bit of play. Really good. And then this has a different fabric feel. Do you see that? This feels more like spandex. This feels like more like a knitted material, but possibly with some other properties. This is great too. He may have, this might be a 3D model that he draws over and then paints over. As this looks like 3D, so he might have created a Spider-Man model and then drops this texture over it. I'm not saying that that's factual, but it has a little bit of that vibe. He's being very, very clever with his approach to all this. It would be really insane if he's not using any of that stuff. You know, either way, I still appreciate it, though, to be clear. This is nice. Man, it's really cool. Man, that's a great shot. I love the curvilinear feel he's got going here. This guy's really brilliant. Okay, so we need to hustle because this video is getting very, very long. Tricks? Some of them look like the coronavirus. Okay, we're gonna hustle here. That's nice. Okay, we'll do 2 more, and then I gotta wrap this up. But anyway, we'll get to the cover. I'll show the cover of it so you can see. So this is, oh, maybe this is the end. Okay, so this is Carnage by Clayton Crain. I keep wanting to call him Crain. It's because I know someone named Clayton. And yeah, it's Carnage Family Feud. It is incredible. Like, this gets my highest recommendation. I think this is fantastic. So, all right, I will talk to you all later. Have a great day. Enjoy the McFarlane video, and what are your thoughts on it? Later.